Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com, dwyervip.com, on Roku, Dwyer Boxing and Sports News. Remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. It's July the 25th, 2015. They haven't yet started preseason football. But if you're like me, you're already thinking about your fantasy football draft. Here's some things you need to consider before the guys take the field and start to cloud your judgment. Everyone knows DeMarco Murray has joined the Philadelphia Eagles, right? That could be a coup for you in fantasy. Here's the problem. Here's what you need to remember. They also picked up Ryan Matthews, right? It's questionable whether DeMarco Murray is going to get the number of carries that he got with the Dallas Cowboys. Keep in mind, folks, Darren Sproles is still there. Also, you have a new quarterback, one that Chip Kelly supposedly likes, Sam Bradford. It's unclear how often they're going to pass the football now in Philly, right? That whole situation is unclear. If you're someone who could deal with a high level of uncertainty, then hey, maybe there's a reward there to be had. But don't make assumptions based on last season when neither DeMarco Murray nor Ryan Matthews were on the team. Let's talk about a coaching change that might actually yield dividends. John Fox out of Denver. He's now with Chicago Bears. Guess what? The Bears happen to have one of the best running backs in the National Football League, Matt Forte. Right now, here again, there's a lot of uncertainty. New coach with a team that has underachieved, right? A quarterback that's a bit of a mystery. But understand, John Fox's arrival might actually help Matt Forte's numbers. Let's talk about some other things you need to consider. The suspensions. Key players, right? Le'Veon Bell suspended for the first couple of games. That might impact where he's picked in your draft. Antonio Gates suspended, I believe, for the first month. You need to double check all of this. And who knows what's going to happen with Tom Brady. In fact, let's look at the Gates suspension a little bit more closely. Understand, Phillip Rivers doesn't have a new contract yet from the San Diego Chargers, right? Antonio Gates, a Hall of Fame tight end, one of his biggest targets, is not going to be there. They opened the season at home against a playoff team, the Detroit Lions. Now, the Lions have an interesting schedule. They're one of the few teams that play week 1 and week 2 on the road. Here's the question for those of you looking for sleeper teams, right, to make the playoffs. Detroit is catching San Diego at the right time without a key weapon. If Detroit wins game 1, will they be able to go to Minnesota and beat the Vikings and Teddy Bridgewater in week 2 to start the season 2-0 while still having 8 home games left? Keep in mind, Detroit plays well at home. They're an indoor team, right? Just food for thought. Let me also say this too. I know the gamblers in Las Vegas love the Minnesota Vikings. A lot of talent on that team, right? We haven't seen Teddy Bridgewater play with Mr. Parent, Adrian Peterson, right? Is that going to work out? That's a big question. That's an uncertainty. Are both guys going to be happy? Bridgewater is an elite passer. Look at his numbers from college at Louisville, right? Do you think Adrian Peterson is going to feel happy not getting the football on a regular basis? That's a situation that you need to keep an eye out for. Let me also say, too, the NFL has set up their scheduling so that certain bad teams start the season with back-to-back home games, right? And so, the Chicago Bears, who I mentioned earlier, you remember I mentioned Matt Forte, they start the season with 2 home games. The Jacksonville Jaguars, they start the season with 2 home games. The Oakland Raiders, they start the season with 2 home games. The Washington Redskins, they start the season with 2 home games, right? If you're worried about bye weeks, if your league has trading, and you want to possibly benefit from, let's say, some young rookie on a team that's going to artificially start the season on a high because they're playing back-to-back home games, then these teams are worth a look. Just understand, though, that some of them have very brutal schedules. The Oakland Raiders start the season against two playoff teams, the Cincinnati Bengals and the Baltimore Ravens, right? It's going to be rough sledding. Well, anyway, those are just my football thoughts. We're going to continue to update this page on a regular basis. Obviously, the YouTube site is now free. I'm going to try to rebuild this. I see that because I made it free, YouTube has removed my subscribers. Okay, fair enough. We're going to update this with more football news, and we're also going to talk about other sports. For boxing, visit my other YouTube channel, Dwyer70905. All right, thanks for stopping by.